Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're in for a really special treat. This is Diana. I can't say it in Italian.
Diana
Giovane.
No.
Giovane.
Yeah.
Okay. Diana's a member of the parish, and her husband came over one time to cook a meal for a small group. And I was so impressed with her bread making skills that we've invited her back. So we're going to make some bread today, huh?
Okay. Okay.
Why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
Okay.
You were born in?
I was born in Italy, Pisa, Italy.
The Leaning
actually,
Tower.
across the street from the Leaning Tower.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
The hospital
Okay.
there. We came in 1968, over 50 years ago, to Chicago.
How old were you when you came?
I was 8 years old. So
Okay.
I'm 60 today, I'll tell everyone.
Is this your birthday?
Not today, today, all year.
Oh, okay.
I
Oh,
turned
okay.
60 in June. But yeah, so we've been here over 50 years. My love of baking. And let me backtrack. I've been a parishioner here for about 3 years now. And we love it. About bread baking, I love making bread. I mean, since I was probably...
And she does it all with these hands. No machines.
No, sometimes I use
can't believe
machines.
this.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do when I get lazy.
Okay.
But,
well, today you're going to do it by hand,
yeah,
right?
we're going to do it by hand.
Why don't we get started then?
I usually use a scale. I didn't use a scale at one time, but I do now. I take the bowl, I turn it on.
She's going to cancel out the weight of the bowl.
Cancel out, they say tare it, put it to 0. Okay, and then I've been using a lot of different flours throughout the years. I've been baking bread for about 30 years, on and off between my children. I have 4 kids. So whenever I have time, this is my passion of making bread. So I've been making bread with this King Arthur flour, and it's a bread flour, and it's got a high protein content, which is really good for bread making. So
if you watch in the stores, this is a little bit more expensive than regular flour.
It is. If you get it at Walmart, it's not that
Yeah,
expensive.
you can get it for like $3.50.
Yes. I get it at
so,
Walmart or wherever it's on
You got to
sale.
shop around, but you can't beat King Arthur flour.
Every time I go to the grocery store, any grocery store, I'll go down the bread aisle to see if it's on sale. And I get that I stock up on it. Yeah.
I do the same thing.
So,
You're going to put 4 cups in there?
Put it at 0. And I don't measure by cups anymore. I used to, but actually I never even measured before. I just kind of wung it.
Yeah.
So now I do more measuring. It's just easier when you have an exact recipe. So I use a 3 pounds. It's very easy for me to work with, and it's not like you're baking all day long, and it's very fast and easy, and you could turn your oven on only once. I have 3 racks in my oven, and I just use 3 racks, and you just put it in once, and then you're done. So then I put 3 pounds. Let's see. I try to be like exact. So I take about 3 teaspoons of salt, which is 0.7 ounces of salt, either sea salt or table salt, and I just throw it in here. That's that. Then I take. You could do it 2 different ways. The fastest way would be to put. I have 0.8. 8 teaspoons of active dry yeast. You could put it in the water. Let's see, perfect. You could put it in the water. It would kind of activate it and make the bread making faster. Or you could stick it in the flour. But we're going to do it this way this time. So just
use that spoon and stir.
Then there.
Now, again, you don't have to do this. You can just put it right into the flour.
You can put it right in the flour.
So if you do this, you want to like proof to see that the yeast is actually working. So it should foam up a bit. So this takes a little bit extra time.
So what I do to really make the time go by even faster and not wait the 10 minutes that they usually tell you to, I'll just stick my fingers in it and I kind of like mash it. Smash it and just kind of dilute it into the water like this. And then you really don't have to wait the 10 minutes, at least I don't. So you've got yeast, salt, and the water waiting here. You make a little well in the middle, and you start pouring it like a cup at a time, I would say. And then with only one hand, you leave one hand clean so that you can turn the bowl and pick utensils and do other things with it. You still get flour everywhere around the kitchen anyway, but it's better. So you just
part of the process.
Yes, part of the process. So with your fingers, just kind of.
You want more water yet?
Whoops, not yet, not yet. Till all this is incorporated and gets dry and shaggy like this. You just keep doing that till it's all mostly absorbed. Okay, then one more cup. Okay. Okay, so right now there's still a little flour left on the bottom. It's forming, yes. So I like to use the last of the water. I'll tell you in a second. Okay, so.
You're running out of breath. You're working so hard here.
It's okay. Okay, so there's still a little flour left. Clean the bowl. I don't know how long it's been, how many minutes it's been, but probably like 5 minutes maybe.
I don't think that long.
Okay, so you just punch it down and then you put in the rest of the water just on top so that it's easier to knead the dough while you're going around. See?
So you're just punching it
You're just
down.
punching it and kind of like twisting your hand like this, and then just grab a piece.
Flip it over.
You just do it.
You're just playing with the dough.
Yeah, exactly. Pull.
And as you're doing this, you're building gluten in the flour, in the dough, which is, gluten is going to make the bread strong and chewy.
Now, right now, it seems like, oh my gosh, it needs more flour. Do not add flour.
No.
That's the recipe.
Because as time, the wheat, the flour actually absorbs more water as you work it. Yeah.
See how it's turning and the water is being absorbed?
A lot of people make that mistake.
Yes.
They think they panic at the very beginning and they add more water, and then you have a really
Just the dough gets too hard.
too wet.
See how it's getting absorbed? Now, another thing you could do, like say you don't want to work anymore, you've got something to do and you've got to make a phone call or you have to do whatever, have a cup of coffee, something. You can leave the dough, and it's actually easier because the dough gets to rest a little, 5-10 minutes, and it gets absorbed on its own. And then you can do less, work working it.
Actually, when I do my dough, put it in the machine, once it forms into a ball, I leave it sit for 10 minutes.
That's the same
So
here.
Exact same thing.
Same here.
Now there's a fancy name for that, but it basically means that you're letting that dough rest and the gluten is forming during that rest period.
Right. Just a little bit of flour. One, to kind of clean off your hands. Okay, just a tiny, like a tablespoon, just around, just like to finally clean up your bowl.
That's
like
an
this.
important thing is you have dough on your hands and you go wash in the sink. All you're going to do is have slimy stuff in the
I know.
sink.
It's like
Take a little
my
flour
mother
and rub your hands together and the dough will come off.
always told me, and really, like sometimes it takes like 1 tablespoon of flour to change the whole dough.
Yeah.
It's like what I'm doing right now. You can see the flour. I mean, much am I adding? Like not even a quarter cup. Not even. See? Clean the cup. Clean it. Clean it. Clean it.
And as you knead it, you're going to put a little bit of dough in it too.
Right. Like this.
A little flour in
Now,
it.
if it's too wet, of course you do. But usually with this recipe, you really don't need to add anything. Okay, so see how it just me cleaning the bowl already kind of settled the dough. And look, okay, it's still a little sticky, but don't fret. Don't fret. You can let it sit for a little bit if you want, but this is another trick. Okay, so can I have the olive oil? So that it doesn't stick to you. You can, they always tell you add little olive oil to the bowl so the dough doesn't stick. So it's pretty clean right now, right? Just add a little bit like around the edges. Okay, so I just go like this. And then I transfer the dough to the other side, and then I clean this side.
You want more?
Yeah, a little bit more on this side till it's super clean. Okay. Okay. And so you've got kind of like the bowl is oiled. So now the dough is very easily, can move around easily. So this is, well, I kind of want to wash my hands now. Excuse me. Okay, so now my hands are clean. So now, then you pull it. Well, it's still, if you were here, you could feel the dough, how warm it is.
And the more you work it, the more heat.
See, just that couple minutes that I went to wash my hands.
See the difference,
See,
how
look at the
easy
difference.
yeah.
And then I think that little olive oil kind of helps it. You don't want to put too much olive oil, actually.
Yeah.
They say that then you get pizza dough.
Yeah.
Okay, so see, look at.
You see also how the color has changed a bit as the lumps start to disappear. That's one of the cool
I
things
wish I had a
think
stool.
about, is the bread changing. It starts one way and it ends up a totally different way. That's why also when you do this, so they say knead it for 5 minutes or whatever, you really need to look at the dough. You need to pay attention to what the dough looks like and what it feels like. See?
I saw a video once that they said if you pick up a piece of dough and you stretch it, if it breaks very easily, then you still need to dough. But it's still good bread when at the end.
Yeah.
You still make, bread is bread.
Bread,
I mean,
it's hard to mess up bread.
Yeah.
It's hard to mess up bread.
Yeah. So then that's it. Then in 10 minutes, or after the 10 minutes or a half hour, 45 minutes, you could come back and it has risen just a tiny bit, it has settled. You can, there's a pull and fold method that you can incorporate that into doing this because you didn't make it as smooth before. So you can come back, say, I'm not gonna be making bread right now. I wanna make it this afternoon or for tonight. So you don't have to do it right now. You can, the bread will wait for you.
Yeah.
You just punch it down, you pull it and you fold it. You kind of punch it. You pull it and you fold it. And you just keep doing that.
And what you do when you're doing that, you're adding air to the dough. So if you want your bread to have those nice little air bubbles inside as you cut it open, this is the technique you use. Pull and fold.
And that's it. Okay. And then you cover it with a towel. Any towel. You could use plastic wrap.
You can see how different that dough looks from how it started.
Yep.
Yeah. Why don't you cover it?
You cover it.
So it's been about an hour, and I inadvertently punched down this before we had cameras rolling, but it was like this high. So the dough rises significantly. And now we're going to shape it into different forms for making rolls.
Okay.
I set this on the side.
Okay. There's two ways that I make bread. Is either in loaves or else buns. Buns is easier to defrost, and you could take 1 or 2 out of the freezer. And,
so you make it and you freeze. So you make a whole bunch of.
I make a lot of bread. Lately I've just been making 3 pounds at a time because I've been now I'm going to be talking. I'm going to be talking about something else, and that's saving some of the dough for the next time, and it would be like a starter for the next batch.
Right.
So you can do
so
that.
That's called the bija, or
overnight rise.
Okay.
I use it for my overnight rise. I just do it. I knead it the night before, and then I cover it, and by morning, 12 hours later, or
if you go
8 to 10 hours later.
If you go into my refrigerator outside, I have a big bowl that has dough sitting in it.
Yeah.
Just take a little bit, especially for pizza.
Exactly.
It's really good.
Yes.
Take a little bit. It's several days old. It's kind of a little
acidy, not acidy, like
it's sourdough. Sourdough.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the longer you have it, I'm sure you've heard of places where they say that their bread is over 100 years old.
Yeah.
It's because they've been doing that for every time they make it.
So you take a little bit from what you're making today and you add it to what you had. You take what you had as you make it today.
Yeah. What I usually do, though, I don't know, maybe I'm doing it wrong, but I take, say I take a piece about this big, and I save it for my next time. But I've used already the piece from last time that's in here, incorporated in here. So I just keep using this amount of money. This amount of dough. Dough is money, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what they call money dough.
That's right. So, and then I just save it for the next time. But of course, it's going to take a lot longer to rise, but then you get a lot better flavors. Okay, see, it doesn't really need any more flour. It's very elastic. It's got a lot elastic. and it's not that sticky, you know.
Soft.
Yeah, it's soft
It's
and
like
supple.
billowy.
Yes, see? Okay, so
Now you
what
make your focaccia, that's one of the things you do. You pull over and over like 5 times, and each time you put little holes in it. And you, by the last fold over, it
just-
takes all day long to make focaccia.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. And put rosemary and olive oil.
Yeah.
So, okay, bought myself one of these. I used to use a knife, but this is so much easier.
It's a bench scraper.
Yes. So, so what I do, actually, when I make buns, I just leave the dough there, and then I'll grab some and just cut it, you know, like about like this. Go like this. Leave the rest in the bowl. And then I just stretch it out like this. Stretch it out. And then sometimes I weigh it just to be for the fun of it, to see if I get it the same, but we don't have to do that today. So I get about like that. It's usually about 4 ounces, 4 ounces, 4.2 ounce, something like that. So like that. And I make six of them usually, because that's what fits in my pans. Look at the bubble. See that?
Yeah.
Look at that.
We're gonna knot this?
Yes, and we're gonna make different shapes. That's the fun of making bread. You could do whatever you want. You can make, you know, different designs. You can make your own signature designs, and I'll show you what mine is. What I always do, which is easy, and it's, so I just take this. See, like, it doesn't need any extra flour.
Stop it, I'm
Yes.
show you what she's doing here. She's taking her hands like this, she's rolling out like that, so that the center of the dough comes out in an even pass.
Yeah.
So you don't want to just stay here. Did you know you were doing that?
Not really. I'm just like trying to flatten it and
No,
trying
you were
to.
doing this. I was watching
Really?
you do it. Yeah, you were doing the right technique. So
Okay.
that's how you do it.
Okay, thank you. There you go. But I just like try to stretch it out, because the design that I'm making needs
You
to
need
be
to,
stretched
yeah.
out. Either you could knot it or, okay, but before I do that, this is my trick, not my trick, but okay. I like sesame seed on my bread. It just makes it nuttier tasting. It just adds a different flavor. It's delicious. I recently found this at Strax. It's a bagel seasoning. If you like that kind of seasoning, it has garlic, onion, poppy seed, sesame seed, all different kind of things.
It's got everything.
It's got everything.
That's, what
and
they
that's
call
why
everything.
it's called everything. And but it's too much for me. For the flavor, it's not our type of flavor, Italian flavor. So I do like it though. So I do add a little bit to my sesame seeds, just to give it a little pop of flavor. Like once in a while, when you're eating the bread, you could taste like, tastes
Yeah.
a little garlic
Yeah.
there. Like, where'd that come from? So I do that, and then okay. So what I do is I make a pile right here. Hold on, because you don't want to pick this up every single time and put it on the bread. So well, let me just do this. I make a little pile right here. Is that little pile or big pile?
That's a decent sized pile.
Then I just add just a little bit of this. Kind of mix it. Okay, that. And then where's the, and then I have olive oil here. And then I'll just add a little bit of olive oil there, because I use that to flavor the bread also. So 1, 2, 3. And I always have flour on hand also. If this would have been too sticky for me, then I would have just used a little bit and just, you know, done that to it. Okay, so I do this, then, okay, so now I'll just tap a little bit of oil and I run it across. Just, it gives it that extra flavor and extra crunch when you're baking the bread. Okay, then I'll take a little of this, I'll just run it across. See, look, there's even a little piece of rosemary in there. I go like that.
So not a lot.
No.
No, slow down. They're not
Oops.
going to catch
okay,
that.
Okay, so,
you're
okay,
tying
so
it
this
into a
is,
knot.
first I'll show you my, no, I'll show you the knot first. I'll just take it and just like when you're making a knot, go like this. And that's one. Okay,
Now,
I
do you
need a pan.
pinch-
I need a pan to put it
Sure.
in.
Do you pinch the corners here so it doesn't
no,
go
no,
out?
it does. You don't have to. You could do whatever. It's your bread. You could do whatever you want. Oh, before you put
Or
it on
spray it.
here, either you use parchment paper or I just take a little olive oil and I just run it across, and just that little bit, it will not stick.
Okay.
Just you know, the pans do get a little dark and they get very seasoned as time
Okay.
goes on, but they're your bread pans.
Yeah.
These are way too clean. Okay.
It's because I'm a fanatic about all my stuff.
I'm a fanatic about a lot of things, but not so much my bread pans, just as long as only bread's been on it. Okay, so, okay. So that's like the first one. Then, you know, you grab another piece and you stretch it out. You start in the middle. And
Now,
then,
see, if you're not aware of you doing this technique, she's doing the proper technique as you spread it out.
yeah.
If you don't do that, what you're going to end up with is lumps, one side bigger than the other side.
Yeah, you just kind of, you just get used to it, doing it, and you just keep stretch as you go. You're pulling out, and, you know, it's like playing with Play-Doh, seriously. So you go like this, and then you do that again. You don't have to do this, but that's what I like to do. Just put a little olive oil, take a little seeds, run it across, and then I do that. Okay, so what I do is what my mother used to do. She used to make a little indentation here, and then she used to go like this and twist. It's a twist. So that's what this is how I always make my bread, because I just like doing it that way. And my mom used to do it like that a lot. There's so many different ways. On YouTube, I've watched some Indian people doing such beautiful work. Oh. Okay, see how skinny it is there? You just kind of work with it till you, like that. So what if it's a little thin there? It doesn't matter. Just go like this. Oops. Of course, you don't have to make them all with sesame. See? Like that. Okay, so it's a little thin there. You don't have to do that. See? It's okay. Everything's okay. It's your bread. You can do whatever you want. Okay, so that's one pan.
Now, how long does that have to proof before you put it in the oven?
Another 45 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, depends.
Okay.
Yeah, at least 45 minutes
And
to
what
an
we're
hour.
going to do with this today, I use saran wrap.
Okay,
I cover it in saran
that's fine.
wrap.
See? I'll show you how I make a loaf, just to show you. Like, say I'm going to make 2 loaves out of this. I'll just split it in half, try your best to make it even. Because loaves are a little trickier to have.
Now,
when
do you put that in a tin, or do you leave it just straight in the oven like this? The loaf?
No, I put it in one of those. Yeah, in that, yeah.
But not a bread tin, not like a regular.
No, I don't like it like that, because I like to see like the brown,
So you
like
meant more
all
like
around.
a baguette.
Yeah, like a baguette.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got 2 pieces. This looks fatter, but sometimes I'll just take a little piece out of this and then
Add it to the other.
add it to the other one. Now that looks better. So then, okay, put this aside. Let's see. Put this aside. Like this. Okay, so this is how I make my, I could leave it like this. You know, I could leave it like this. There's a lot of bubbles going on right now. And if I want to, I don't have to wait to proof it. You just finish it, put sesame seeds on it or nothing at all. You don't have to do any of that. You could put egg white, gives it a nice sheen. You could put a little olive oil. You could put nothing, just flour alone. You could put it in the oven right now. If your oven is nice and hot at 450, you could take this, you know, be careful not to disturb the bubbles.
Do you want to do that?
We can do that.
Would you give me a tray?
You could show you how that works. So you won't get, and I'll show you, I'll show you from this to the other one what it does. So,
There you go.
whoops, like that. So we didn't disturb the bubbles that much, so you could see that it's nice and fluffy, right?
Right. Can I do the
so,
other one too?
and I could do it that way, but I'm gonna show you a different way. Okay, that way, or
Can I put this in the oven then?
yeah, let's just do it this way. I can show you another time how to make a different
Okay.
way. But let's do it like this time, like this. We're not disturbing the bubbles. We're just forming it as softly as possible into like a baguette, and we'll put like this. See, I have rosemary in here. Love it. There's nothing like bread. Breaking bread with someone, having people over, I love it. It's my favorite thing to do. Here we go.
Okay.
See?
And we've got
Okay, that's it.
on the convection oven, we have it set for 450. So the bread's going to cook in there for about 15, 20 minutes,
No, longer.
you think?
Good, like 25 minutes to a half hour.
Okay.
25 minutes, let's just say.
At that temperature.
25 minutes at that temperature.